Hello, everyone, dear viewers of the channel. I am Halyna, the guardian of secrets, a researcher of mystical phenomena, and here with me is Vadym, a historian interested in folk culture.
And welcome back to our deep dive into the extraordinary. Halyna, today you're taking us on a journey down Ukraine's legendary rivers. I'm intrigued because while I understand the historical significance of our waterways, the whispers part always makes me wonder what specific ancient beliefs we're talking about.
Oh, Vadym, the whispers are everything. Our rivers, the Dnipro, the Dniester, the Southern Bug, they aren't just bodies of water. They are arteries of our land, pulsing with ancient magic and teeming with spirits. For our ancestors, these rivers weren't just resources, but living entities, guardians, and sometimes formidable dangers. Today, we're delving into Ukraine's whispering rivers and their ancient water spirits.
Living entities, I understand. Many cultures imbue natural features with life. But when you say spirits, are we speaking of specific entities or a more generalized reverence for the water itself? Historically, I've seen evidence of both, but the specific personifications are what truly differentiate folk beliefs.
Both, absolutely, but with deeply personal manifestations. The most widely known, of course, are the Rusalky. They are perhaps the most enchanting and terrifying. Imagine young, beautiful maidens, often with long, flowing green hair, who dwell in the depths. They are said to be the souls of drowned girls or unbaptized children, doomed to wander the waters.
The Rusalky. Yes, I'm familiar with them from various ethnographic accounts. From a historical perspective, these figures often served as powerful cautionary tales. In agrarian societies where rivers were central to life but also posed significant risks, such legends would effectively deter people, especially children, from dangerous areas of the water. Drowning was a common, tragic end, and giving it a supernatural explanation could both explain the inexplicable and enforce safety.
But it's so much more than a cautionary tale, Vadym. It's about the raw, untamed power of nature, the grief of loss, and the eternal cycle of life and death. The Rusalky aren't just scary, they are deeply sorrowful, longing for life they lost. They appear during Rusalna week, just before Kupala, emerging from the water to dance in rye fields, sometimes luring young men with their ethereal singing and then tickling them to death, dragging them into their watery realm. Can you feel the chill of that? Imagine being drawn by that unearthly song, knowing what awaits you, yet being utterly powerless against its allure. That's the energy these stories carry.
I can appreciate the emotional resonance, Halyna. The tickling to death motif, while grim, is a vivid representation of succumbing to the river's current, the water's gentle movement turning into an inescapable force. Psychologically, it externalizes the fear of drowning into an active, malevolent entity. And Rusalna week? That ties directly into agricultural cycles. It's often seen as a period where the boundaries between the living and the dead and between human and nature are thin, coinciding with critical stages of crop growth, making it a potent time for fertility rituals and, conversely, for fears of harvest failure or death.
Precisely. And farmers would leave offerings of bread or cloth near the riverbanks, hoping to appease them, ensure a good harvest, and protect their fields. It was a plea for harmony, an acknowledgement that the spirits of the water held sway over their very survival. To ignore them would be to invite disaster.
And those offerings, from a historical viewpoint, were also communal acts. They reinforced social cohesion and shared belief systems. They weren't just about appeasing a spirit, but about reinforcing collective practices that bound the community together, often in the face of environmental unpredictability. It's a pragmatic way of dealing with risk, dressed in spiritual attire.
But what about the Vodyanyk? He's a very different kind of water spirit, the master of the waters, often depicted as an old, green-bearded man with fish scales who lives in the deepest parts of the river, especially near mills or whirlpools. He's not as tragically beautiful as the Rusalka, but far more powerful and unpredictable. He controls the fish, the currents, and demands respect.
The Vodyanyk, or waterman, is a fascinating figure. He appears to be a personification of the river's raw, untamed power. His habitat near mills and whirlpools is significant. These were points of immense danger and change in the river's flow, often associated with accidents. Fishermen, millers, and anyone whose livelihood depended on the river would naturally develop a strong respect, even fear. The sacrifices you mention could range from throwing a pinch of tobacco into the water, a symbolic offering, to more grim, exaggerated tales that reinforce the Vodyanyk's power, and thus the need for extreme caution.
They say he has an entourage of Rusalky, that he can break millstones and cause floods. Fishermen would often make a small offering, a piece of bread, a coin, or even a fish from their catch, before casting their nets, whispering a prayer to the Vodyanyk for a good catch and safe passage.
A classic example of confirmation bias, Halyna. The human mind seeks patterns and explanations. When an expected outcome, poor fishing, coincides with a perceived transgression, forgotten offering, the causal link is readily made. These stories also reinforced good practice. Perhaps taking time for the offering meant a more deliberate, careful approach to fishing. The Vodyanyk, therefore, functions as both a warning and a psychological aid to focus and reverence.
But aren't you missing the emotional core of it? The profound connection our ancestors felt with the water, as if it truly had a consciousness, a will of its own. It's not just what it does for us, but what it is. The Dnipro isn't just a river, it's our mother, our history, our protector. These spirits are expressions of that deep, almost primal bond. And don't forget the Berehynia, a more protective spirit, often associated with water, hearth, and homeland, safeguarding homes and villages along the riverbanks. While not exclusively a water spirit, her presence often invoked a sense of benevolent protection from the very element that could also be so destructive.
The concept of the Berehynia certainly highlights the dual nature of these beliefs, not just fear, but also comfort and protection. Her association with water, along with hearth, emphasizes the river as a source of life and nourishment, not just danger. Historically, the river provided sustenance, defense, and pathways for trade. It was literally the lifeblood of settlements, so it's logical that people would imbue it with spirits that both challenged and supported them. The stories, therefore, become a cultural tapestry reflecting humanity's complex relationship with its environment.
And these stories are still alive. People feel it. Even today, many people speak of specific places along rivers where the air feels different, heavier, where a mist rises without explanation, or where they hear strange sounds. It's the residual energy, the memory of these ancient guardians echoing through time. It's about remembering that connection, that respect. It's why places like Halyna on the Dnipro are so sacred. It's where the veil is thinnest.
I agree that places can hold a powerful sense of atmosphere. Geologically, these areas might have unique features, peculiar air currents, specific plant life, or water conditions that create optical or auditory illusions. Historically, sites like Halyna have immense significance due to their strategic importance and long history of human settlement, making them natural focal points for cultural memory and spiritual projection. The stories, therefore, become layered onto the landscape, giving it meaning beyond its physical form.
So for you, it's always just geology or history, no room for the inexplicable?
For me, it's about understanding the human experience of the inexplicable. These stories are invaluable, not because I believe in literal Rusalky or Vodyanyk, but because they reveal how our ancestors made sense of their world, how they processed fear, celebrated life, and passed down vital knowledge. They encoded lessons about survival, community, and respect for nature within narratives that captivated and endured.
And for me, they are the living breath of our culture, proof that there is more to this world than meets the eye. These spirits are reminders that we are part of a larger, magical tapestry, and that losing touch with these stories means losing a piece of our Ukrainian soul. We must keep these whispers alive.
Indeed, Halyna. Whether as literal beings or profound cultural symbols, the spirits of Ukraine's whispering rivers have shaped our history and our identity. They remind us to respect the power of nature and the wisdom of those who came before us.
Exactly. And we'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever felt a presence near a river? Do you have your own stories of Ukrainian water spirits? Tell us in the comments below. We read every one.
And if you're enjoying these explorations into Ukrainian folklore, don't forget to like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe to our channel for more journeys into the mystical and the historical. We're constantly uncovering new layers of Ukraine's incredible heritage.
Until next time, keep listening to the whispers of our land.